Dark Dimension 7 is less than 2 weeks away. What should you do, if anything, to start to prepare right now? I am joined in this video by my brother Jgiusti, who's one of the best theory crafters in all of Marvel Strike Force community. And if you're ready for it, brother Jgiusti, let him know what to do.
Let's go smash it.
And welcome back to the ValleyFlyin channel. I am ValleyFlyin. This is Jgiusti. And in this video, we're talking all about Dark Dimension 7. Should you start to prepare right now, or should you wait till you have more of this red gear that's coming in the game? Before we get to all that, if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button for more great Marvel Strike Force content. At least 5 Marvel Strike Force videos per week on the channel, helping your experience in Marvel Strike Force, getting you set for everything, including one of the most important things coming up in a game, Dark Dimension 7. So, brother Jgiusti, what are you doing to get set for Dark Dimension 7 right now?
So the main thing I'm doing is just, first of all, planning who I'm taking, rough drafting that, and then also buying certain pieces in the store.
All right, so let's talk about each of these pieces of the store. And if you don't know Jgiusti, he is my alliance mate. He's one of the best theory crafters in all of Marvel Strike Force, and helps pretty much all of the content creators that take Cosmic Crucible seriously, helps them planning out everything. We are planning out Dark Dimension 7 right now. And in my store right now, Jgiusti, I'm not sure what to buy. I'm buying all this stuff here, all this gamma radiation. What are the best pieces that I should be buying in preparation for this?
So definitely the first thing you want to be doing is targeting whatever character you plan on taking to Dark Dimension, buy their uniques in particular. So their main uniques, and then the mini uniques on the top left corner that are for like 400 a piece. You should be buying those because you need thousands of, almost thousands of those to finish Dark Dimension. And you get like one a day. So if you want to speed up that process, above all pieces you should be buying is that left corner. And I think the top right is sometimes that.
Okay,
the top left corner is one you always buy.
And each of the characters, if we go into the screen right now, each of these characters takes a bunch. So if we go into Apocalypse right now, he's going to take that mutant stuff there. These mini uniques for this, 18 each per piece, per character. So if you have a character like Apocalypse that you need for all of this, that's a lot of uniques that you're going to need for this character. So yeah, that's a good thing to start buying. Let's talk about the different traits. So right now, missions 1 through 3, no traits. You could bring in whoever. So whatever characters you're going to bring in, the top 5, you should get through this. Then it's going to be city. So it's a little different order than we've had in the past. Then global, then cosmic, then we got legendary, then the new mythic characters. So I guess the question I want to start with, Jgiusti, is, are you starting to build these characters right now? It's characters that you know you're going to take in, some of these mythic characters that are going to give you value right now in the game, like Apocalypse, like Skrull. Or are you waiting and going with city first and global first and going in order? What is the strategy that you're using right now for Dark Dimension 7?
So it's definitely a what are you doing? Like, so think about what level of spending, what race are you doing? So I finished in place 875th.
Okay.
It took me 6 months to finish. So for me, Dark Dimension is a marathon, not a sprint. If you are trying to push for that top 100, your advice is build them in order, finish in order. But for somebody who's in my position, or if you're going to finish behind me, what you want to do is you want to build.
I'm going to finish way behind you.
The best thing to do is to build the Toons you're guaranteed to get value out of, out the gate.
Okay.
So
I'm thinking it's these mythic categories. So let's go into different order then. Let's start with these mythic characters. Who would you take? Because Apocalypse is great, Skrull is great, Kestrel's great. The problem with Doom and Dormammu, they take Miasma, which if we look at who takes Miasma, it's Doom, Dormammu, and Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes, which is all appealing. So what would you do in this section here to round this out? Would you go Doom, Dormammu, or both? Or would you reach down to like an Ultron or Ultimus, because you're probably not using a lot of the gear that they take?
Barring them getting a rework, they're not coming. It's going to be the top 5. So it kind of goes back to if you're planning, this is what helps you, right? So look at that miasma. So you only need 54 of those. If you look at how many characters. Yeah, if you look at how many uniques you need, like the ones we talked about earlier that said you need to be buying them like nonstop, you need thousands of them. So you only need 54 of those to drop. You need literally thousands of those to drop in that same time period to finish. So
this is what I should be buying every day, not the uniques. This is what I should be more worried about.
Well, again, if you see a unique that you know you're going to use, buy it. So if you see Miasma, you're going to buy it. If you see Astral Energy, you're going to buy it. If you see Arcane whatever Black Knight uses, buy that one.
Magic, yeah, that one. the Doctor Strange book.
Yeah. So if you that's why it's good to make a plan so you know which uniques you need to be hunting for. But if nobody on your list needs it, you'll be just fine not buying it. So I'm buying the ones that I know I'm gonna be. So Miasma, I saw one pop in my store. I bought it so fast. I bought an Astral Energy so far. And so if you know that those are what you're targeting for, you're gonna be just fine just taking all three of them. Because you're gonna need those uniques are gonna take so much longer to get. Osmium's another big one. I just saw Gambit and I was like, oh boy. Yeah. Osmium is a pain.
Not just Gambit. Let's talk about these characters that take the Osmium. Which characters would you select for Osmium? We got Gambit here, Val, Morgan Le Fay, Nova, Iron Man Infinity War, Nightcrawler. You could make an argument of bringing all of these characters in, some more highly than others. Who would you be spending these on? Would you be targeting maybe 3 characters, 4 characters, 1, 2? How many characters would you want for Osmium? Because there's a lot here that looks good.
I mean, definitely. Nightcrawler is probably my first pick, and then Vol's probably my second pick.
Okay.
So
no.
You don't. Well, I think. See, this is where it gets tough. I think Gambit's third. I don't know. Because Nova, MLF, and Gambit all have a good reason. Morgan's gonna probably end up on that ball team as a good fourth always, because her kit's so good, fits so well with them. So she's not completely dead out of the meta. I think the rest of her team is, but I think she still can. The Cabal team is going to bring her back to life a little bit.
Gotcha.
So again, I'm pretty sure on the first 2, and then after that, I'm like, it just depends on how much Osmium I get. If I get enough Osmium to take more of them, I will. Okay. And then what traits have I already filled out?
Gotcha. All right, let's go and talk about each section here. We talked a little bit about Mythic. Let's go and jump ahead to City right now. And this is a Dark Dimension 6 planner. The Dark Dimension 7 planner is not on the website yet, but this gives you a general idea of how many uniques these characters are going to need, how much of that origin pieces are going to need. What characters stand out for you for City? Obviously, Ghost Rider Robbie Reyes. I think a lot of players are going to take that character in. Who else besides Ghost Rider though that you're thinking of taking into City?
I'm planning on taking some Sinister 6 or Superior 6. So I think Craven is Vulture and Craven in particular. So Craven, so your skill options right now today is not that great. After you get to Kestrel and Black Knight, your skill options just kind of disappear, and so he's just a great tune. And it's one thing that people are going to say is Hive Mind. The problem with Hive Mind is it like a lot like Web Warriors. You have to take multiple of them to be good.
Is it worth really if you're not going to take him Carnage because of the speed that he's going to get?
They're not going to drop below health. The thing is that their kits are intertwined.
They got a large health pool in there, so they're not going to be getting that speed from Carnage anyway.
So in order to make it
Vulture's super cheap. One of the cheaper tunes that you could take in.
So like Vulture, Slayer is a good option. Lizard's bio. So after you get it through your initial 5, he'll be there. And maybe somebody new will come in the game and that we'll use instead.
More spiders in the game, yeah. That'll be good. All right, let's move on. After City is global. So some global characters here. Apocalypse doesn't count anymore. Kestrel is not. Wait, all right, let's move on to global characters. Apocalypse doesn't count anymore because he has that mythic tag. Black Knight is here for that skill. There's not a lot of great skill characters. Outside of Black Knight, and you already mentioned Nightcrawler, who are you thinking of taking into global section now?
So I'm definitely thinking Gambit if I can afford him. The Cabal team is actually one of each trade. So if they are good, or if they're cheap, all right, I don't know their unique cost, but if they're relatively inexpensive, then the Cabal is a great option.
Okay. And then if you brought in Cabal leader, his kit synergizes a lot with villains. Would you bring in other villain characters for that, or would you just match in whoever you're going to use after Dark Dimension?
Use after I said Nightcrawler is just such a great character in general. Black Knight, right? You're not bringing Black. He's not going to be great in Dark Dimension, but he's going to be fantastic outside of Dark Dimension. He right now creates. He's probably he's one of the big three that, like, besides Crucibles and Wars right now. Black Knight, APOC, and Sus. So he's in that same category. So Black Knight is almost a no-brainer.
X-23 is getting a rework. I see she's kind of a cheaper character as well. Do any of the X-Men reworks appeal to you, or would you stick more with those Extreme X-Men for your mutant characters?
I tend to so I have to see her actual gameplay right now. Her kit showing that she went from below average to like a little bit above average, and I'm trying to focus on tunes that are like meta defining, even if they cost a little more. Gotcha. The fact that I can get more value, like a Nightcrawler, Gambit's pretty cheap and he's really, really strong.
So it's all about those mutant pieces for them, and the Osmium for Gambit and Nightcrawler.
Yeah, so I mean, I would, and then Namor is also a mutant, so there's a good chance. There's a good chance I'm taking those three before I touch X-23. And so, if you're my fourth, fifth option, that's probably, and today, probably not coming.
Mystic character Quicksilver. This was an appealing choice for Dark Dimension 6. Still has value for Dark Dimension 7, or is his meta time over?
He's definitely not one I'm putting on my list today. If I have the Mystic gear and there's nobody better that came out, he's a definitely consideration because he's just a good character. And if I need something, he's great. And again, you don't have APOC to anchor your team. He may find himself being a great option depending on how the notes look, because you don't have Doom to help you. You don't have APOC to help you anymore in this section. You have to, but if you're taking more members of the Extreme team, I think you're going to be just fine, especially if you can sneak in Forge. Then you have a lot of sustain for the three Extreme members. So right now, today, I would take the Extreme members.
I like that Extreme plan. All right, moving on to Cosmic. All right, Kestrel is out. Kang is still there. Vol is still an option if you have that miasma. Who else stands out for you in this Cosmic section? I mean, is Stitcher gonna be an option at this point? Oh, I just saw Void Knight, so probably Void Knight. But is Stitcher a cheap option? Is that something that you would do? We got a lot of Mystic characters for Cosmic, so are you trying to look for other traits here, or are you gonna lean more into that Mystic like most people have done in previous Dark Dimensions?
Yeah, so I like. Trying to think, the best ones to use. So Void Knight put himself on the map. Without Kestrel, I think Void Knight kind of slots in there very well. Aang is a no-brainer. He's probably the only no-brainer on this list. Vol is a close second, and then I think after that, it's who else can you get and who else comes to the game. So many of these tunes are just no-goes. You have so many, and so Stitcher, Stitcher is one of those tunes that it's if you want to get through early, it's fine, but it's not a tune that I can recommend on a video because he's just a bad character.
It might not get you through early. It might get you in early, but it might not get you through early.
Yeah. And so we just always have to think about that before we do that. It's just build the tunes you want to bring in, and then fill in with the budget options after. So, right. So I'm going to have, at the time I'm putting Stitcher in, it's because I have 20 plus characters already at G19. And I need to get into Cosmic, and then I push the button because I think I took him on this account, on my main account. I think on my alt I did, and I think I took Beta Ray Bill, and I had such a better even just having Beta Ray Bill was just such a better time than when I did it with Stitcher, because Beta gave Val so much more synergy, but he cost more. And that's just an example.
I took him into Dark Dimension 5. I said I'm not going to take him to Dark Dimension 6. He's not worth it. And I ended up taking him to Dark Dimension 6 because he was so cheap. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do in Dark Dimension 7. All right. Last but not least is our legendary characters. Apocalypse does not count. We got to take off some of these mythic characters as well. Actually, I don't see any mythic characters here. All right. Legendary characters. Who would you bring in for this section? Anybody stand out in particular?
So this is probably where you have the least amount of certainty. So first of all, there's going to be at least 2, if not 3 legendaries that are going to be released in that time frame that it takes you to beat DD Dark Dimension 7 if you're at my pace. And you're going to assume that those are going to be the 3 you take. And so you're really only taking 2. And so if I was
point,
to take,
good point.
yeah. So if I'm going to take 2, it's probably going to be Green Goblin Classic and either Black Cat because we don't have skill. We don't have any very good skill options. Or Nova's a good choice. Omega Red can sneak in there.
Nova and MILF do take miasma though, so I mean osmium. So
so they probably, depending on they take osmium, which is even worse. I think osmium is
osmium is the tough one.
So definitely Groblin is probably the only one that I say is a safe pick in Legendary right now. Black Cat only because skill options are limited, but all it takes is a skill raid team to come in, and then we want to start bringing more of those members in instead of Black Cat.
As you mentioned, that should be the next raid team on the horizon. So maybe hold off on skill for that team.
And so I would put Black Cat not in my top 5 on who I'm building. And so that means that she's on my list, but she is definitely not getting that gear until I am 100% sure I'm about to enter Legendary.
Makes sense. No. Makes sense. None of these other characters seem like they're worth it long term.
No, I mean, it said there's an argument for Red Hulk with the leader to, he may have some value. Fury is kind of always there, but those are always tunes you pick as once you're at the door of Legendary and you're waiting to go, and then you're just taking the best option you have available. That's when you have that conversation. But for today, the only one that I think is safe to build is Goblin Classic. Everyone else
really should have a hero and a villain tag. He should have more synergy with leader. He shouldn't have that. Anyway, just that part annoyed me a little bit. I wish he had a villain tag. You should have more synergy with leader. But all right, so that is a good plan. All right, so your top 5 right now for Dark Dimension. Let's go over that before we end this video. These are who you should be getting some uniques for. Start building for them. And I guess it's the best plan is to go 1 for each trait. So Mystic, a skill, what else we have? A tech, mutant, and what is the last one?
Mystic. Did you say Mystic or Bio?
I can't remember what I said and didn't say. All right, so we got the 5 traits. What are the tunes you're taking for each trait?
So I'm definitely taking I'm calling the big 3 in Cosmic Crucible. So right now, Cosmic Crucible is decided by 3 tunes: APOC, Sus, Mutant, and Black Knight.
Bio and skill. All right, so those are done. Those make sense. Those are meta in Arena, the Crucible, War, everything. All right,
they determine the game right now.
3? Who's your other 2?
So I think out of tech, your options are Kestrel and Kang. I'm gonna pick Kang first, just because I think he's gonna do a little bit more for me in multiple game modes. I still use him in Arena for certain comps. I still in CC he helps. If he's bigger, he can help beat Extreme. He can be plug and played off of the Masters of Evil pretty soon to be used to counter other teams. So I think Kang is gonna have a little bit more value than Kestrel. So I'm gonna probably do Kang first.
I agree with that. All right, and then you need a Mystic.
This is the one I'm least unsure about if I was to do it today. I'm thinking Robbie, just because he's City and he's a great character.
Yeah, and City is one of the first sections as well. I like that choice.
And I mean, we've all had a moment where Robbie's passive just goes crazy and causes Crucible, and he just kills your entire team.
But we've also had that flip where he goes crazy for you and kills the whole other team as well.
Yeah, and I mean, if you used him in Dark Dimension 6, you just remember him completely demolishing full waves in Dark Dimension, and you know that he is probably the strongest pick for Dark Dimension. And
that's only if you were going in right now. You probably wouldn't be leveling up just because there's other options probably in Mystic.
Yes, and so he would be. I mean, because he's a great character, and so I probably will end up taking Robbie, just for his value. And you got to think here, we're probably a month and a half away from taking that first 5 to G19. So you still have some time to plan and think about that. But you always want to have the plan so that you can start buying those uniques and everything.
All right, but the only ones you're building up right now are the big 3: Apoc, Sus, and Black Knight. Nobody else right now. Everybody's just a plan at this point.
Yes.
I agree with that as well. All right, so we're going to go over to your channel. We're going to talk more about Dark Dimension 7, some of the other plans, and some of the more intricate things that you could do to plan for Dark Dimension 7. Hopefully this video gave you some value. If it did, leave it a like. It is free, and it helps out the channel. We're going to go over to Jgiusti's channel as well, so check out him. Give him a subscribe as well, and have a great rest of your day. I'll see you guys next time. Are you ready for a fist bump, Jgiusti?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Bye.
Hulk, fist bump, ValleyFlyin, Jgiusti, out. Have a great rest of your day, guys.